is here, coming in the front, right?
Yeah.
We have a quorum.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next is approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion by Athwold, we have a second?
If I can ask one adjustment.
Sure.
Unfinished business D,
D,
just, I see some people here to speak, just out of courtesy, if we can move that up to make that A, just so it's addressed a little sooner,
sure,
if anybody has a problem.
I'm fine with that.
We'll move A, or D to A then, and
Okay.
everything else down.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that. So we had a motion by Athwold and a second by Marty, right? Marty, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next we have approval of the minutes from April 8th. We have a motion to approve the April 8th minutes? Or any changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented
We have a second?
for April 8th.
Sorry, who's that?
That was Megan, or President Postanski. I'll second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That moves us into public forum. Anyone has anything to address the board, you can come on up. Now's your time.
All right, hey everyone, my name's Dave Thomas, owner of 209 North Main, and wanted to have this, take this opportunity to talk about the parking situation downtown that we've been talking about for the last, well, way longer than before I got here, but it seems like it's coming to a head just personally on some of my projects, and then some of the other entrepreneurs and business owners in town. So heard a few things that we're chatting about today, so got excited, wanted to come by and touch base. So, you know, I bought my building at 209 North Main 3 years ago, and my real estate office upstairs at the top 2 floors, and then the first floor working on putting a restaurant down there. So this would be Host Utica, this would be Host Romeo, the second location, rotating chef menu, would be really great for downtown. We're working through some of the parking situations to make this happen, and so that's kind of what brought me here today regarding other solutions, right? Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good,
Okay.
we're gonna.
So, I guess, kind of like from a macro standpoint, working through this, and I'm not the first person to bring it up, but with Meyer coming down on 32 Mile and some of the industry that's going to be following Meyer out there, it's going to be a lot easier. I can see businesses having a lot easier time going out to 32 Mile in Van Dyke to put their restaurant, or to open up their office, or to not pay a village tax, which I'm happy to do because I love being down here, and I moved my family up here from Royal because I love Romeo so much. And you know, what I don't want to see happen is it's so difficult to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a build out and then have to figure out a parking fee or a flat fee or a monthly fee or some sort of agreement that everyone, that makes sense, that no one's really paid yet. So my concern is like, people are just gonna go to an easier spot and still be close to downtown. Of course they wanna be downtown, but if they can't because it's 10 grand a spot or X amount a month or whatever on top of their, like for me, on my first floor, it's gonna be probably around an additional $400,000 build out. And on top of that, for parking, I mean, it's a big endeavor, right? So my concern is people are gonna go to the Meyer location and go to one of those storefronts, and then do people start just passing by Romeo to go there? I mean, I know that sounds extreme, but what if 2 or 3 nice restaurants that could be in the village end up going there? So that's my concern, is it's just gonna be so difficult that there's, people go elsewhere, other villages, other close locations. And so this is me, never really wanted to get involved like this, but, trying to get ahead of it. So what's the solution? I could stay up here the rest of the day, but, talking about it, but I wanna find one. We wanna open on the first floor over at 209 North Main, and, you know, we got a lot of, we think it'd be great for the village, and, I think a lot of people agree. And, you know, I guess I'll leave it with this, like, it's tough to find parking within 300 feet if we're gonna do a variance, or a parking agreement with anybody, so something to consider there as we kinda chat through this. 300 feet's basically impossible, in my opinion, based on the current parking, right? And we can't just make it out of nowhere, so, like, where else can we go? What other ideas can we spitball? If it's a monthly fee or something like that to kind of alleviate some of the burden, does a light start blinking when it's time for me to go?
I was gonna say, you have probably about 30 seconds.
Okay.
left. I don't wanna cut you off. You
No,
wrote
it's
it
fine, I
down.
appreciate it. Yeah, long-time listener, first-time participator.
I appreciate that.
So then the next thing is like, okay, well then can we just, is it an agreed upon amount? And then can we give the other businesses in the village a 2 or 3 year heads up to say, hey, this is coming, so it doesn't pop them in the nose 6 months from now or 1 month from now, right? Is it a 2 year heads up, a 3 year heads up? I don't know. It's not fun to talk about, but we gotta figure out something. And I'll leave it at this, I just don't think it should be on the new business owners to shoulder the burden, of finding it. So I'll leave it at that, that's all I have.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Thank you,
Public
Dave.
comment?
Hi, my name is Chelsea McDonald. My husband and I just purchased 111 South Rawls in the village, and we live in the village. But we started our business back in 2011, actually out of our house, and then we've had a couple of offices out in Shelby Township, but we want to move it back to Romeo, which is why we bought that building. There's still a lot of work to be done in that building, bringing it up to code and things like that. But I just want to like echo exactly what he just said. With us having the expense of obviously purchasing a new building and getting it up to code and everything, the parking at like 10,000 per spot, it's just not a financially responsible decision for us to be doing to be able to bring our business here. Like I said, we have 4 kids, like we live in the village, we love Romeo, and this is where we want to be. But to be expected to pay that amount of money is really, really hard. Like, my husband and I have been talking about it, we're trying to figure it out, but like the building that we purchased literally has no, it just doesn't have any parking. So for us to come up with it, like, we're trying to talk to who owns the building next to us, like I think we have a little bit of room for maybe a couple parking spots possibly. But when it just physically doesn't exist on the property, for us to have to pay that amount of money just really doesn't make sense for us to move our business here. I don't know what we would do, obviously we've purchased this building, but we probably won't be able to move our business here into Romeo with that kind of expense. So same thing, you know, that Dave just said, like obviously there's a parking issue and it needs to be dealt with. I have no idea how we would do that or even, like I literally don't even have any ideas. But we're really, really hoping that something can, you know, somebody can come up with something, some sort of an agreement, a payment plan, something where us and other small businesses are not having to pay this large amount. You know, it's really going to stop businesses from coming into Romeo, and that part stinks. Again, we understand there's an issue, but we're hoping to find a solution. That does not involve us paying $150,000 right up front after purchasing a new building. So yeah, that's it.
What is your business, real quick?
Logistics. So we are just office. We are not open to the public at all. It would just be our staff, and that's it. So we don't have anybody come visit us, nothing like that, just office.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. Anybody else for public comment?
Justin Parker, 195 South Main. I got a little bit of different take on the parking stuff, and we heard about people bypassing Romeo and maybe going somewhere else, maybe easier. But 99% of anywhere you're gonna go, you're gonna end up paying for parking. If it's a new build or a build out somewhere out by Myers, you're gonna pay to put a parking lot in. You're gonna have to pay to put the lighting in. You're gonna have to pay regardless. So to expect the village and the residents and people that have paid for it for years, and it's there and it's established for new businesses, it's kind of tough. I mean, if you're changing occupancy of a business, you know, you would have to expect to provide more parking for your customers if you're gonna have customers, and to think that just not pay for it just seems, I don't know, to me it seems a little extreme. So maybe I got a different take on it. I think if you're gonna establish a business anywhere, you have to pay to operate. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Justin. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Okay, public forum is closed. Andrea, you wanna take over now?
Sure. So financial report.
Okay.
Back to you.
Okay, everybody has their financial report. I'm open to any questions. Any clarifying, anything? We had, quite a few deposits from the TIF. We had donations, and then the bills presented are $7,860.04.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials here as presented.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Second by Megan. We'll do roll call.
Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes?
Kozinski,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Van Warmer,
Yes.
Rose, yes. 8-0.
Oh, okay. The next on the agenda is funding requests. The board has not received any funding requests, so we can move on into unfinished business. So the first item is request to rescind the portion of the DDA parking ordinance that includes the payment in lieu of parking. So the board received yesterday an email, a draft email to present to the Planning Commission and the Village Council, explaining the DDA's take that we had on the PILOP based on the conversations that we had, which is to eliminate the payment in lieu of parking, based on multiple different things, some that we heard here tonight, some, things like we're not, actually purchasing parking, it's just kind of going towards this overall fund. So essentially, what we're looking for is a acceptance of this proposed letter that would be then presented formally to the Planning Commission and the Village Council. The DDA does not have the ability to make those changes, but we can definitely make recommendations to the Planning Commission and the Village Council based on our input from our taxpayers within the district. So if anyone has any questions or changes that they would like to make to the letter, Otherwise, we would be looking for a motion to approve and submit this letter to both of those boards.
I'd like to ask a question. Is this the proper chain of command planning commission? Would it not simply go to the village?
So my understanding is that the planning commission is the body that makes the ordinances, correct me if I'm wrong, and then they would present to the village council. Is
Depends
that,
on what it is.
Okay.
This is a zoning, so I can see how it'd be planning would want to touch this.
okay.
Would this be something that the village trustees would send to planning if they feel fit?
Do you feel that there's a better-
I don't know if it's our decision to send it to planning.
I think you should send it to both. I mean, the more communication between the boards, why not?
Okay. And should it go to zoning,
Well, that would be,
planning and zoning?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I have just a couple,
Yeah,
they're minor little verbiage changes that I have to read it.
okay.
Instead
Well-
of like I, it would be we respectfully.
Yeah,
So
we
just
gotta-
minor little tweaky things, but
So if there's anything, yeah, I mean, we'll definitely do a recap of the, the tenses and things like that. But if there's anything content-wise that someone would like to see changed,
I
Please
would
let me
like to, I don't know if it makes sense to put some examples of creative solutions. I know that there's concern about having some kind of parking fund. I don't think anybody is saying we shouldn't have a parking fund and that nobody should pay anything. Not that we've had anyone pay anything yet, but, things like meters, paid parking, that's something that, even though it's small incremental, it's continuous. It's not waiting for a business to change over or a new business to come in and like,
absorb the cost.
absorb the cost. It's a continual, perpetual payment that is being made by whether it's residents or visitors. And I haven't gone to any town lately that doesn't have any kind of paid parking. So it's just one suggestion. I don't know if it makes sense to have it in here to say, look, there are other solutions to this. It's not just no, we're not doing this.
Well, we can add a section that does cover that, listing those options of, what did you say, parking meters?
So I have a question then with that, because I agree, I think we should have that in there, but who would make that decision to look into that type of solutions? Like, do we need to have like a workshop where we look at different types of solutions and
Yeah, I mean, maybe like,
invite people, obviously, there's planning and then there's, of course, the council as well.
so I think, yeah, that might be something that the village council would create, where they would want people
So
from
we
certain
could
boards.
ask them to create that
We
in the
could,
letter?
but we could, I mean, we could put whatever we want in the letter, but we could absolutely ask them to do that. I think what's important though now is that we make it very clear as quickly as possible that we need to stop this fee from scaring everyone away. If we can get that letter out there and at least state our claim of how many people we're losing that want to open a business in Romeo, then we can take the next step of what's the plan, because we're not collecting anything now as it is.
Right.
So it's not like there's gonna be a faucet turned off of
Correct.
money coming in. There's no money coming in right now anyway. So if we could, hopefully make the change of just removing that payment in lieu of, and then based on the village council or the planning commission's recommendations, create a group that will talk about what's the next step. But right now, today, we're scaring people away. That's
Yes.
kind of the
Right.
concern.
And there is statistics out there of, local municipalities that have something like this. It's not even close to the rate that we're talking about. And it's much larger,
Cities.
cities with more population, like large population, 40,000 people. So I don't know if it makes sense to put some of that in here, just more supporting data that this is just, it's too much. It's too much for our,
Would it be maybe beneficial to look at setting a lower rate for the parking in terms of being able to get something going right away versus having to change zoning?
Well, it's gonna be a change to it regardless, because it's either gonna change it to less or to change it to zero. You know what I mean, like, it's
I
gonna,
thought that it wasn't actually in the zoning, the $10,000.
It's not listed in the ordinance as far as I know. I
Right.
think it was just the village.
Right,
had
Stu-
voted,
yeah.
Right.
so that's why I was thinking if maybe there was a smaller number that seemed fair, that it meant we didn't have to rezone.
I don't know how that would work, though. Is that number that's been come up with, like, a set number that the village council's already
Are you
agreed
talking
to?
about money? What
Yeah,
number?
like the 10,000.
Okay, so 10,500 came from the Church Street parking lot,
Mhm.
and they took how much it cost to purchase, develop the whole thing, and divided it by the amount of parking spaces and said, this is how much a parking space costs.
So to change that dollar amount, that would still be a process.
It'd be a motion.
It'd be a motion
That's all it was, to set it into place.
by the village council.
Let me ask a couple questions. Have we ever done a parking study in Romeo? Has that ever happened? Have we seen that?
There's been a few, and what we've been told from them is that it's not a parking quantity location, it's a parking management location.
Okay.
So it's things like having, enforcing times, it's things of enforcing business owners not parking in prime spots, so it's more about a management issue.
And it's informative.
Mhm.
We need to let people know where it's all at, signs.
Yep.
And, I mean, how many times is the North Bailey parking lot completely empty during
Usually.
restaurant time? So it's informative. I like your idea of offering suggestions.
I mean, I think it's just showing that, I'm not saying that's what you have to do right now, but I think it's pointing out that there are other viable, this is not the only solution.
Right.
$10,500 a spot is not the only solution. We've not collected on this ever, so I get how we came to the calculation, but.
And is that calculation even reasonable? Are we ever, is there going to be property that the village can purchase?
No idea?
Not if you keep buying them all.
Well, I mean, that's a true statement, right? I mean,
No, they have.
are you gonna be able to compete with a developer that wants to buy a piece of property and put a parking lot there?
Well,
you
and
know?
that's kind of the point, you're paying for parking
That's
that
never gonna be developed.
you're not gonna get.
So the
I mean,
parking lots in general are paid, I'm assuming, by the tax dollars to maintain currently? So that's already being taken care of. So the fund we're talking about is to purchase new
New.
land, which
Yes
is.
and no, it would also be to maintain. You see all of them right now. They all need to be
Yeah.
redone.
But aren't they maintained through taxes? So
That
that's
the
already
vill-
covered.
That the
Village
res,
taxes.
that the residents pay, and this is where you get the push and pull. Why are the residents footing most of the bill for these parking lots, for the maintenance? How are they snow plowed? And when your customers come, they're snow plowed and salted. That comes from all the joint taxes, yes.
Yeah.
But to expect a new business to pay for the maintenance when an existing business isn't paying for the maintenance
Yeah.
doesn't quite seem,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Fair.
And should it be a tax change? Maybe we don't charge enough in taxes, I don't know. But it shouldn't be one person bearing the load. Unless that load is to buy a parking lot, which that seems very unrealistic. So,
Right, but I don't think that's the conversation we're having right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not going
Yeah.
down a rabbit
so,
trail.
I mean, this letter is essentially asking the planning commission to rescind the parking, or the payment in lieu of parking portion of that ordinance. So,
We probably just need to be specific on what paragraph that is,
yeah,
you know,
so.
in there, in
If
that
we,
letter, but.
if we were to, in this letter, add the addition of, the suggestion of parking meters, the suggestion of, listing what
Lowering the fee,
one or two other cities are doing, and then we'll identify the ordinance.
I think I would like to also see what you're willing to offer. Kind of like to Kathy's point, we're willing to come to
Yeah.
the table. We're willing to join in. Do you want to cost share some sort of something?
Yeah, we can
We'll have a
definitely
conversation, but also what you're willing, this board's willing
To do. we can add that paragraph in as well. We were willing to join the original committee that was out there. We only had one meeting, but, yeah, we're definitely willing to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that this brings the right people and allows people to come to town.
well, outside of the cost side, the planning commission can still turn down anybody coming from town if they don't meet the parking requirements. So the gentleman over there was saying 300 feet. It's still gonna be up for a debate if they would allow that or not, outside of even the cost. So just because we're waiving the cost doesn't mean it adds the cost that somebody wouldn't have to pay, but they still have to meet the code. And that might be difficult, so. We're excited about getting rid of that. but
Right, yeah.
It's only one half of the
It's
problem.
one portion of it,
Yeah.
I
yes.
think it's a step toward,
Yeah,
well, I'll make a motion that we, with these few changes, we send this letter.
And I want to also be clear to the two that talk, we don't make the changes.
yeah.
We are just here to, and as their DDA members, we just want to bring people to town. So we're excited about both their businesses, so.
But we can definitely push forward to the
Yeah.
people that do make those decisions and
It's great.
give our recommendation, and try to fight the good fight for you and on behalf of you.
I'll second the motion to put a letter forward, yes, for sure.
Okay, so we'll add with these 4 items added, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Can you clarify those 4, please?
With the additional suggested options of parking meters or a different cost associated, providing information of comparable cities and what they charge, and our willingness to be a part of the solution if there's a committee put together. I have 3. What was the 4th one?
I think that was it.
Was that it? Okay.
Well, are we going to give comparable rates to other cities, or we're just saying we are?
We can pull 1 or 2 cities that are
I
like,
quickly pulled them up
yeah,
online.
we
It
were able to
wasn't-
get them quickly and look
Okay.
at them.
So we can get this letter submitted, if we approve it right away?
Yeah, planning commission meeting's Thursday. If this is
Is
First
it?
Thursday.
first Thursday, so it's this Thursday.
I mean, you won't be in their packet, but you can present it to them.
Yeah, we can,
Okay.
so yeah, we would, we could even, you're the planning commission
Well, it was
liaison?
last Thursday, it was the
Yeah,
second.
I can submit it.
Oh, it's- okay, so it would be June,
Okay.
but we can definitely ask for it to be in their packet, and then if you can go to the meeting and read the letter to the board.
I think it was the second, May second was the
This
first.
is the
Yeah,
first
but
Monday.
It's the
the
first
last
Monday.
planning was Thursday.
So it'll be the
Yes.
the first Thursday of
So we
June.
probably have time to get it into.
Now you'll, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be
I
on
was
the-
thinking
yeah,
you
we
will.
can-
Can we get this on the trustees' agenda?
Yes.
This month?
Email it.
We'll have this edited probably tonight or tomorrow and resubmitted. But we have to take a roll call.
We will, I just have
Is someone
one.
going to come and do a presentation portion? Put it in the email, what your, is it just informative? Is it just in there? Do you want-
I can come to what day is the village council? The
That Monday?
13th?
20th,
The
right,
20th.
does that sound right?
20 sounds
Yep,
right.
that's what I got. May 20th.
Okay, I can, and I'll put it in my email that I can come. Paul, are you able to go on the
Sure, May
20th?
20th?
Yeah, so we can go and present.
Yep.
And I'll just put that in my email to you.
Yep,
Okay.
that way I remember and I don't mess anything up.
I'd like to make one comment here before we vote, regarding all of this. We need to come up with a solution. I just wanna make the point of a lot of the word that I've been getting off the street is, everybody wants a solution, it needs to be equitable. And the feeling out there from some businesses that have already been turned away and some that are trying to get in, is, this is all great, but why is it all just me? So I know that was sort of mentioned, so, as we're throwing around ideas that we can present and give to everyone else, we just need to make sure it's equitable for all parties involved so that we can all come to a solution that works for everybody.
Great.
Ready?
I like the committee idea, especially since we're gonna be the ones trying to get businesses here.
Yeah,
It'd be great for
we're the
them,
front line for
but-
that.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I will definitely put in there that we're willing to participate and join any,
A committee for sure.
or,
because
yeah,
I think we'll just be spinning around and going from here to here to here, but if we're all together collectively and we're all coming up with a solution in the same room, I feel like we can do it much quicker
yeah,
and come up with the best that we can.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Ready?
Yep,
Saint Laurent,
yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Poznanski,
I say yes in support of this committee's efforts. That in no way insinuates what my vote will be down the road.
That's a long answer.
Yes.
Right
give
on
a
it.
yes or a no.
Yes.
Hudnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Bowers.
So I have a question on this. Can I vote if I have an interest in this vote?
Well, I mean, you all do.
Yeah,
Then yes.
Van Wormer.
Yes.
I will abstain from voting. So, motion passed 7.
Can you state your abstention?
Yeah, I just don't want any sort of perceived reason why I may want to change in any way. Just for my business. I don't want any perceived, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Conflict of interest?
Conflict of interest.
Or just voting to.
but I think, yeah. I think
But you have
we
to
vote.
actually state a conflict of interest.
Yeah,
Do you have a conflict of interest? And I don't mean to.
I'm an existing
pressure-
business in Romeo, and if we are going to come up with an equitable solution, every business in Romeo is gonna have to participate. Without knowing what that solution is, I don't really wanna vote on it.
But that's the point of a
But we're
committee.
voting too.
yeah. Well, that's why you're
That's the
on
whole
board.
point of the committee. is-
You're here to vote on behalf of your group, who we're representing.
You wanna vote a yes or a no to present this letter to trustees?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's how I looked at it as, oh, sorry.
You're not voting on the solution
okay. A vote,
necessarily.
Right.
yes, 8-0, motion passes.
Okay. Okay.
Now we're going up to A,
Okay, so employee committee
which
update,
is B.
which is now B. We, at the last meeting, we discussed where we were at with the candidate that we were moving forward with. Communication has stalled. We had kind of gone back and forth, trying to get some feedback, trying to get responses. Like we talked about before, we were getting responses after deadlines. So the board did direct the employee committee to relist the positions while continuing to work with the candidate. We did extend a final letter to the candidate asking for an in-person meeting to sit down and discuss in the next week. That was met with a response of, perhaps a week or two out, I may have time to do this. At that point, we've continued on with the listed positions. We've had a handful of applicants. I believe one was coming in today for the DDA director. So once we get probably 3 to 5 viable candidates, we will sit down and do another employee committee interview.
Did you send some official to that other candidate that were just?
No, the last final thing was that if she was interested in it, that we wanted to set up a meeting to discuss the board's expectations, and where we were gonna go with this, where was, the negotiations kind of
Sure.
stalled out, and that was where it was left.
Should we send something official so we're not bound by anything, or?
Well, there was no offer accepted.
Oh, there wasn't? Okay. so-
Yeah, we never even, we
That's
didn't even
fine.
get to that point, so.
Got it.
So that's that on employee committee update, Shakespeare in the Village. So we don't have anyone here with the committee, but we did have a committee meeting with Linda, Sharon, and Lou from All the World's a Stage, and they came up with kind of starting out ideas, reaching out to actors, both in Stratford. There's a couple of people out of New York that they want to bring in. And then also kind of, working with local communities who would have some classes for kids to be able, like Romeo kids to be able to be a part of. And then working with the Masons to possibly use the upstairs of the Opera House for some small skits throughout the event. They're looking at mid to end of October. Probably second or third week, because they don't want to go too far into the Halloween kickoff. So they are working on that. They potentially have the gentleman coming from New York who is the Shakespeare rapper that comes out. He's world renowned. He's right now in England doing a show, but potentially having him come do lessons and then presentations. They're also putting together a merchant contact who will work with all the businesses downtown to see how they can be a part of kind of just bringing that vibe alive in their businesses. So it is off to a good start. Next item is the statement of support for the occupancy permit letter to review. This letter we do not have ready yet for review, so we need to push this to June's meeting. So that brings us to Vintage Fest.
Okay,
You go first.
all right. Well, it's all starting to come together, and we have had Amy Inanucci. She is a volunteer here in Romeo and our committee, and she has gone out to all of the businesses along Main Street to let them know kind of what's going on and to give them the business permission to see if it's okay to put a market vendor in front of their place. And I think she's seen everyone, about 4 people she wasn't able to contact. She went out 3 or 4 times and did a great job. It was very, very much appreciated how hard she worked on this. We've had 6 returned so far from the businesses. Amy has also emailed and talked to people on the phone, about 90 market vendors. So at this time, we have 4 market vendors registered and paid for. Her husband, Nick, has also volunteered, and they're also, obviously he lives in Romeo as well. He is helping us out with the classic car show, which he actually has his own club. It's called the MMAC Motor City Auto Club. He's the chairman of the Fall Color Tour, so he's got a lot of experience in that. So him and Amy both have been going out and actually handing out registrations to the different car owners that they know. He also has contacted Mickey York. Mickey York owns cruisinmedia.com. So they're put our information out there on his website and also on his MMAC Facebook page. So they've done a lot of work for us. We're really excited about that. We have 17 cars registered and paid for right now at this point. We have, our marketing is to the printer finally. We have several sponsors, and we'll have to update that. We'll be updating all of that, and everybody is invited to our volunteer meetings, which are at 4:30 on Wednesday at the DDA office. If anybody would like to help out, we would gladly appreciate that.
Please.
We'll be, Nick also will be in charge of placing the cars that day along with the volunteers, and he'll be working with the police and DPW on the road closures and just make sure that runs as smooth as it can. Hopefully, you know, hopefully we have quite a bit. Nick kind of just looked at overview and said we could probably get at the most 180 cars. Well, we're hoping for 100 would be nice, but depends on the weather, of course, with that. But I'll let you handle that part. Marty and I have personally been going out to different car shows and meeting with the different car owners and handing out the registrations. They all seem very excited that it's in Romeo, and we'll see.
Yeah, we actually had a really good response at Culver's last week on Thursday. There wasn't a whole lot of cars. It was their first car show, but I'd probably say there were a good 20. But a lot of them took multiple applications. And then we went to Jack Frost on Friday. We had a lot of fun there. And we handed out probably another 50 there. I think in all, we've handed out over 400. So
Now's the time they should start coming in.
I think so. Every day I'm getting 1 or 2 or 3. Like today I had 8 more that called. They're a group that they're coming back. I haven't received those yet, but I think they're pretty good on it, you know. Let's see. We have Wolfman Mac, radio personnel, it's the DJ. We have a photo booth set down in downtown, DJ. We have plaques for first, second, third, and a People's Choice, so they're gonna get 4, there are 4 plaques out there.
And then we'll just round it off with our schedule at this point, and we will start registration at 10 o'clock for the classic cars. And also we have classic, or vintage campers coming as well. That will be from 10 to 11:45. The show will be from 12 to 4. And then from 12 to 6, we'll have live entertainment. We do have returning is the Heartbreakers. We also have a classic rock, the Fives, they're all over the area here in Macomb and Oakland County. Let's see, then the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber of Commerce will have their adult beverage tent, beer and wine. The Romeo Masons, they reached out to us as well. They will be having their charitable incentives fundraiser bar featuring beer and wine, tours of the Opera House, a raffle, and an ice cream cart outside. And then from 11 to 4, we'll have children's activities out at the park gazebo as well. So that's kind of what we're working with. We've had a lot of things promised and then kind of fall through for different things. But now at this point, we've kind of pretty much nailed it down. This is what we're doing and this is what's happening with that. So.
Sharon's out of town, so she's not here to talk about Kitty Land or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I do have to say that on stage at the gazebo, we have, I don't know if anybody knows Nico Brown. He's 9 years old. He's singing along with Grace Paisley and Blue Sky. So each one of them will perform for 1 hour.
Do you want me to touch on the children's?
Yeah.
Sure.
We weren't sure where we're
Yeah.
at.
So far, we're still working on a couple things, still trying hopefully to get the kiddie train. We have bounce houses. We were not able to get a few other things, but we'll have smaller activities for the young ones to, be more tactile for the really, I'm thinking like toddlers kind of, yeah. That's it right now.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm just really excited how it's just all has come together, you know.
Yeah, we've got some really good volunteers and we really appreciate
Yeah.
them.
We really do. So,
Thanks, guys, sounds fun.
Thank you.
I like
the
the
weather's
logo,
going
too.
to be beautiful.
The logo came out nice.
Oh, yeah. Stand up and show them the logo. You just want to show off. I have to say, my son-in-law drew this freehand, and he did a good job.
He did a really good job.
Really good job. It was like he was reading our minds. We didn't really tell him what we wanted. We just said, this is what we're thinking, and that's what we were thinking, and that's what he drew.
Yeah, he did a good
So we'll
job.
have T-shirts and, yeah.
So if you look on Facebook, we're trying to do a lot of social media, obviously, with that. So we're having a lot of fun with the reels. So
Yeah.
if anybody would like to be in them, let me know, because we'd love to have you.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, you're doing a great job there.
Are we gonna be successful with both north and south of St. Clair on Van Dyke with events and things happening?
I think so.
You got south,
It'll just depend on
Yeah.
how many people we get registered.
Yeah, we have the serve students helping, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
it'll
depends on
just
how many
depend how
cars.
many people participate, And that now we're 30 days, so now we'll find out.
Thank
And
you.
I'm going on vacation.
All right, attorney RFP updates.
Yes, so today I received an editable version from Clerk Trapp of the request for proposal legal services that the village uses. So I will be able to start editing it so that it makes sense for the DDA. I was grateful for that because I didn't want to retype 30 pages. So I will work on that and hopefully have something finalized to present June.
Perfect. All right, next is holiday decor. So Gonna respectfully ask for another 30 days. One of our vendors that we're working with brought up a really great idea of a lighted arch over Van Dyke. But I do need to reach out to the county. So I'm waiting, I actually did reach out. I'm waiting to hear if that's something that we can do to have lighted arches all the way across. And then if so, I need to go back to the other two and add that to the pricing. So we will have that for everyone to review in their June packets. But it's coming along really great. Our theme is Winter Wonderland.
I love it.
And they are also gonna have some options, one of the companies has some options to work with the merchant. So if they kinda wanted to get on board with that same idea, we can carry it throughout. Next is new logo. So last meeting, we presented some logo options. So just to remind everybody, last year in the budget, we put money into marketing, and one of the requirements of the marketing company was to help us revise and refresh our logo. So we presented last meeting, and some of the feedback that we had received was that the town was not our town, that was used. And then the peach in the O was at the end, which then made it look like we were promoting Rome instead of Romeo. So we went back for a revision, and I think they did a really great job. They were able to pull designs of Romeo downtown businesses to make the skyline. We moved the peach over to the second O, or the first O in the word. So this is what we're at right now. I think we are allotted 3 revisions. We've already used 1. So if this is something that the board would like to move forward with, we would have to have just a motion to approve this as our new logo. With the new logo, we will receive, we'd update all of our social media, all of our, any documents, that sort of thing. They are also would put together a marketing kind of handbook that we could present to the businesses and the merchants downtown, so that they are kind of using that same vibe of our feeling throughout. This would be put on our banners as our new logo, so we are holding off on doing our spring banners until we get this approved. And then there also will be several revisions where the O, that is the peach, can be turned into a pumpkin for Halloween time, can be turned into an ornament for Christmas time. So we're keeping.
Snowflake,
Snowflake, yep, so we're keeping that same logo, but we're updating it seasonally.
So it would be this combined at the bottom where it says peach from 3, skyline from 4, is what we're looking at. And then the 2 on the left-hand side just kind of show you what it would look like as a circle, and then also as the peach with it inverted, the red.
So my only concern is, it's actually stated on here, is the fine line work. When you go into printing, and you can see, I just simply clicked print on the sheets in front of you, how those lines filled in. If you're starting to talk merchandise, it's even more difficult. So I like all of it, I like the layout. For the most part, the fine line work is a concern for me. It won't be my concern, it'll be the printer's concern, but I wouldn't want to see a whole bunch of literature with this filled in as you're looking at least on the sheet that I gave you. The only other suggestion I'd make, other than the fine line work, is the word downtown should probably be the width, entire width of the skyline. Instead of smaller like that, I'd like to see that jump out a little more, but that's all I got.
So which logo is it? Is it this one?
It's,
Yeah.
yes, the peach from 3, skyline from 4 this year.
Now, I don't think on this one, I think on 3 the lines look muddy. I don't think on this one the lines look muddy. The peach from 3, skyline from 4.
Again, though, keep in mind the size of this. If it's gonna go on a lot smaller
Sure.
than this on literature, it will fill in. If you're going bigger, of course, it's not going to fill in. If you're going on apparel, for example, good luck to the printer, I guess, is all I can say. Even larger than this, that's some pretty fine line work for a apparel printer. If we're even going that route, I don't even know. I'm just mentioning that now, so we don't get into it later and
Yeah.
people people are wondering.
Well, she makes a recommendation here to reduce the amount of buildings,
Mhm.
so I don't know if that makes sense to pull 1 or 2 buildings out, and so it would expand it.
Yeah, we can either reduce the amount of buildings or reduce some of the line detail.
Now, if you recall, I think one of the original ones was not so much detail in the windows, it was more just like the top
Mhm.
skyline. But I think the feedback was, well, I can't tell this is Romeo. It could be just any skyline. So then the details were filled in to really show that that's Romeo, but we might have gone too far into the details, because now I see your point about, you know, printing it on a shirt.
You guys don't like the peach one, just the downtown Romeo without the
Well,
skyline?
this would be like an accompanying logo.
Oh,
So that could be used on social media or whatever, in the circle version,
Be a cute sticker.
sticker,
Yeah.
whatever.
So we would get this plus the 2 secondaries.
What are you looking for? An
A
approval or
motion to
feedback or-
approve, or what changes we want to bring back. We still have one revision. So if there's something we want to see revised, they will do one more revision. And we would bring it to the board in June. Or we can approve what they have presented.
so we dropped the historic and the year we were founded. We don't think those are important to the village? I was kinda like that. I mean, that's what sets us apart from everybody else, is that we're historic. But I don't know how you fit that in.
I mean, we could put,
I don't wanna change, I'm not saying to change it. I know
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on it. I'm
no,
just
no, no,
pointing
I mean,
out.
that's, yeah.
And
Well,
we're
then-
gonna live with it for a while, so.
Yeah,
I
I
really-
I just
Yeah.
grabbed the other one that was sitting out front, and right or wrong, they had a lot, you know, it's historic, it had the established date, you know. think-
Instead of, oh, go ahead.
No, I just think that's important.
It is, instead of extending downtown all the way across, you could put historic in front of downtown, historical downtown, or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that, you know, I don't know how that would all look, but.
Well, we could have her, if we added historic downtown, that would fill in that space that you're talking about.
And then the
And then-
established underneath or something.
Underneath.
Yeah.
I think you are going to have to lose a little bit of the detail in the buildings, because
Mhm.
I've printed T-shirts before, and this would be ridiculously difficult to not bleed to the point where it's all just gonna be a blob.
Do you guys think if it was just the,
Yeah.
like all of the windows were gone, you'd be able to tell that that's Romeo buildings?
I, like, if I was going
You
to
do?
do it,
Yeah.
I'd have the buildings on the end have some detail, and then the skyline on the top, and maybe move the words up into the skyline.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, or oust the buildings, make historic downtown on top, and then the established date underneath, and just the logo is the peach and the Romeo stands out instead of the buildings.
And I think we initially
the
liked the buildings.
Yeah.
It was just a discussion about making sure it was recognizably downtown and not just some random skyline.
I like what Melissa said, though.
Yeah.
If we remove the windows from like the inside 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings,
Yeah.
and we pushed downtown up into there, or historic goes in there, so it's a historic downtown Romeo with established underneath.
Yeah, it would give you, like, the look of a skyline. People are gonna be able to see it's a
Yeah.
skyline, but
Like
you'll
an
have,
outline,
yeah, like an outline.
yeah.
So it'd be putting the words at the forefront with the skyline in the background.
Yeah, I like that idea, so it's kind of like a layered,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
So is there a motion to make those changes and approve the logo? I mean, you'll still get one final look at it, but if that's what we want to bring to her, because like I said, we're on our last revision without additional charges, so.
I'll make a motion to do one more revision.
Okay, so we're gonna move
Second it.
historic to the, we're gonna clear out the windows of the skyline and inside the 4 buildings. We'll put,
You might have to remove some of this here though too, because even this detail is not gonna,
yeah,
you,
we'll have her clean it
Yeah.
up where it's
Yeah.
printed, like, we'll tell her that we want it t-shirt ready, so she can clear out what she has, we'll put historic in the skyline downtown, and then below Romeo, we'll have the established
yep.
year. All right, so we have a motion and a second.
Who was second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
And just a
motion
note,
passes.
that is what's holding up our new banners, so
Yeah,
everybody's clear.
so-
Not gonna print new banners until we have this finalized. Okay.
Social media report?
No, we missed
Oh,
one.
sorry, payment processing on website request.
Yeah, so, Verona has done, some research for us on what we can do to accept payments on the website. And long story short, everything is going to come with some cost to the DDA, so I couldn't approve anything for them to put it out there. I guess I'm asking this board to let me know what you wanna do. What avenue do we want to go down as far as accepting payments? Any processing is going to incur costs. So it's anywhere around 3% and then 15 cents per transaction. I mean, you all know running businesses, so what do you guys wanna do?
What payments do we need to accept?
Currently, there is the car show registration and the market registration are the two current things that we're talking about. This would be then available if we ever wanted to accept the other payments down the road.
You
I would
mentioned
suggest
the
paying
cost.
those and then letting the new DDA director do it, figure out how I'm assuming how she wants to do it.
Say that again, Paul? You would-
Pay whatever we have currently.
We don't
however you-
have currently.
However you've been taking payment.
Oh, check or
Yes.
cash, okay.
Check to us,
And
yeah.
then when you get a new DDA director on board, let her do the research and figure out however she wants to manage that. It'd be a new first things you can do. Then to, tell her this is what you have to do. Just opinion.
Are there any thoughts in general about having something on the website as far as accepting payments?
Is there a cost
we?
at all unless there's a payment?
It works just like
No, you wouldn't
any,
pay.
it works just like we do with
There's-
business. You
so
don't
there's no
pay
cost?
unless there's no cost
Unless
it's
it's
the
used.
fees.
Unless it's
No
used. Now,
cost
I
unless
use
it's
Venmo even at my business, and there's no cost for that.
Well, I would say, being that it would be too late to do it now for
Right.
Vintage Fest.
We're not talking about now, but we wanna do it for the
In
future.
the future, but I kind of go back to what you're saying is if it's not gonna, the only thing we're taking payment on right now is Vintage Fest. Let's kind of put it on hold when we have someone that can create it and set it up, because I can't think of anything that we would take payment on until really next Vintage
Well,
Fest.
here's the thing, if you, and I'm just throwing it out
Yeah.
there, it's an easy thing to implement. If you wanna do t-shirts and any type
Right.
of this kind of thing that you're talking about now, people can buy t-shirts and online, and then obviously, we'll have to have somebody fulfill that, which would be the director, but then that way, you can automatically start setting this stuff up if we already know what we're doing.
It could be used for
It's very-
multiple purposes.
Multiple purposes,
Mhm.
yes. But, just mine.
So
I thought-
where I'm confused, if there's no cost, Danielle, why could you not approve this? Just set it up. If it's used, it's
'cause
used.
there's
If it's
fees.
not,
There's
there's no cost.
fees.
Well, those fees should be passed on to whoever's using it. If you're gonna use a
So
credit
we
card, it's
just-
gonna cost
we
you
could do that.
3%
We
more.
could do that.
Then
But we have to
there's
have a
no-
policy and program in place.
okay.
Yeah, and so there were several different options available, and all of them had fees and percentages and this and that. We'd have to set up different accounts for those things. And I thought, I don't know what this board wants to do, if you wanna accept payments electronically or not.
Then we could agree on that, and then the director comes in and has a whole rationale why it should be done differently, and then we're,
I mean, I
Voting
think it
again.
goes back to looking at, can we order? Taking orders, shirt sizes and whatever, so we need something that's a little more robust than just Venmo or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think it's something we should look at doing, but I don't think it's something we should do right now,
I
it's
love
my
the idea,
opinion.
It's just too late now for this, is what
Yeah.
we wanted it
Yeah.
started up for, but,
Yeah, but I mean, going forward, I think
yeah,
it's something
at
we
the end
should
of the
keep
day,
on
it's gonna
the,
make, the money's got, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay, social media report, everyone should have a social media report. So this is part of the marketing program that we have in place, with Verona. So just comparing, I'll just kind of go through some of the highlights of it. So since they've taken over our social media, We've seen increases in a positive trend from 801 in February to 1,244 in March, and now we're up to 1,476 visitors in April.
I think that's the website, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Website.
And then the organic keywords have started to pick up pace and are showing improvement. 647 in February, 672 in March, and we're up to 786 in April. That's for the keywords.
Excuse me, what are keywords? What is
Our
that?
lowest time is October, which seems like that should be our busiest month.
Well, because nothing was really, I mean, we didn't have a company handling it for us.
She didn't start till January?
Probably really February when she got
February.
full access to be doing everything. So what you see before was before we had that marketing company in there.
Okay.
Now with them, we have 2 to 3 set posts per week. Right now I'm sorry?
The blogs.
Yep, the blogs, and those posts are, right now, we're featuring a lot of Vintage Fest, and then we're gonna be doing a business spotlight. But those are all being planned out, you know, whereas before we were being really reactionary. If someone tagged us in it, we'd share it on the Facebook page. Now we've got kind of planned posts, that are clearly working, because we're getting more,
I like the business spotlight is a great idea.
yeah. Yeah.
It's been good so far. They've done a couple.
And
They're good about sharing things too. I've noticed that when a business will post.
tag
there's-
them, yeah.
Yeah, they're also reposting.
So they also are doing a blog on the site too. So they think they just interviewed you
Yes.
ladies for Vintage Fest. They did a blog on St. Patrick's Day and all the things to do in Romeo for that. So that is their,
Again, what is organic keywords? What is that?
So on the back end, this is my very rough technical, I don't know all of it, but SEO, there's all these keywords that are on the back end, and what's important is changing them frequently on your website. So if your website stays stagnant and there's nothing changing on it, then those keywords aren't changing.
Okay.
So like
That's-
the
okay.
blog is important, because now there's all new keywords on there. There's probably more technical to it, but
Yep.
that's my understanding of it.
It's how like search engines.
Yeah,
find you.
search
Okay,
engines.
that's,
Yeah,
okay,
pushes
that's,
us to the
okay,
top.
Somebody
that's
types in
fine.
a word in the search
Got it.
engine, you pop up.
Yeah.
all right. Grant writing internships. So, part of our partnership with Fort County Community Foundation is that with them being in our space, they're working with us on grants. And they were able to obtain a grant where we received $10,000 to hire a grant writer. So a grant for a grant writer.
That's a nice grant.
Yeah, so we'll take it. And so Danielle and I met with the potential candidates that were provided to us. We met 3 people. We identified 2 because of how many hours they are willing to commit. Some of them are college students. We were able to actually bring on 2 and just shorten the amount of time that they're working with us. So we'll have 2 grant writers working with us here very soon. They will be working remotely, but they will be coming because Kathy from Fort County is putting on a grant writing workshop that is part of this arrangement. So they will attend the grant writing workshop, and then they will be using her as a resource as well as working with the board to identify grants, give us the ability to approve, yeah, this is one we want you to work on. We can give direction. Part of the agreement is they have to have a weekly meet with it'll be a Zoom, but with the chair, and they have to provide a monthly activity report to the board. That'll be in your packets. So that's great. So that is a free to us, $10,000 to have grant writers, essentially get us, even more than that back in return.
And just to be clear, these are interns, so they don't have any necessary experience writing grants. But one of the candidates is pre-law, also creative writing, so they're kind of going down that road government that she's interested in. And they're gonna be, again, like Andrea said, guided by
Yeah.
Kathy, and how to do this. And it will be through our payroll. So just so you guys know, we're gonna get $10,000 from Fort County, but they're gonna be under our payroll, so you'll see that, in financials. Right?
All right.
Can I, I gotta ask a question, sorry. Unfinished business, did we discuss F?
Yes.
Did we?
I said I got a
So
editable version from Catherine today
Okay.
on their RFP that they use, so I have to go through, there's 30 pages, and change it so it applies to the DDA, not the village.
Okay. I don't know how I missed that.
That's okay.
What is the grant focus?
Parking.
It could be parking.
Yeah, good one.
So there is no specific, but whatever we choose. Parking would definitely be a great thing for them to look into. I know that Lou from All the World's a Stage sent me a link for a really great grant that we may be able to get for the Shakespeare program.
Sidewalks?
Sidewalks.
Bike paths.
So, yeah, I mean, and these are all things that when we sit down with that initial meeting is we can direct them. These are the sorts of things we want you to focus on. And it's nice because we have two of them, so we can kind of put one on one pathway and one on another pathway and really get some good feedback. And it costs us nothing, so it's a great program. Alrighty, last but not least, budget. So the budget in front of you, we've had 2 budget workshops. This is the budget that came out of those workshops. A lot of it was rolled in from set fees and amounts that we paid in the past. We did, as a group, decide that we were going to, based off of our March meeting, we were gonna focus just on the 2 events. So instead of just having money sitting in this kind of open-ended event amount, we added dollar amounts, so that we have 2 well-funded events that we can really advertise and promote. We put a decent amount of money into, downtown decorations with the understanding that, we're going in a different direction for Christmas decor with, sustainable lights instead of having just the recurring pricing there. We have our employee expenses are still in there to assure that we are able to hire as soon as we find the right candidates. Quite a bit of money in revenue sharing so we can work with the village. That may be something on a parking program. So this is the budget that's been created. If anyone has any questions or any discussion before we approve it, the process is we approve it and then it goes to the village council for final approval.
I would just like to say that, what I see here I think covered everybody that was at the workshops, concerns and requests. And I like what I see here. I will make a motion to approve the financial year 2025 budget as presented here, to be sent on to the village council.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So the decor budget, you bumped up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
How do we plan on using that for, like we talked, using it more for certain holidays or?
So we have a couple things. So what was discussed is that for specifically Christmas, we're gonna get away from the greens because
Okay.
the sustainability of them and depending on weather, but we're looking, and that's what you're gonna get in your presentation, is we're gonna do where they attach the light poles, more of a lighted.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a big expense up front, and then after that, obviously, those are gonna be used year after year. It will include decorations that's usable year after year for the park and other areas, alleyways. There is budgeted money, so we have essentially 2 sets of banners for downtown.
New ones that we're getting?
No, we only have.
Those are the old ones that we
Yeah,
have.
that we have. So in the past, banners were purchased with dates on them or years a lot of
Yeah,
times.
that's great.
So, we did put some, chunk of money into banners, so that'll be something that we're looking at getting spring banners. We wanna get, some Halloween banners.
Yeah,
But when we're doing banners, we're gonna be doing the entire area, so parking lots will have banners. So it'll just give an overall, we're really wanting to focus on, you know, the appearance. So
Yeah.
making sure everywhere that has a pole gets a banner.
good,
So that's an upfront cost this year.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I think Christmas can be done a lot better, we talked about that before. It
Mhm.
has been a little lackluster, so,
Yeah.
good. And, you know, that whole October, you know, Halloween time is great. I think we should draw more from the whole Tilson activities and all that into our village.
and that, you know, coupled with the marketing program, right, so the word's getting out there. We found some really neat banners that are glow in the dark with some, you know, kind of Halloween glow in the dark banners.
Yep.
You know, we still definitely want to do the purple and orange lights. But yeah, it's really just about making the downtown look really welcoming to everybody. All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So any other discussion on the budget? Okay. roll call.
St. Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Bozansky,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes,
Van Warmer,
Yes.
Rose, yes, 8-0.
All right, brings us to board member comments. We'll start with you, Paul.
no, I like the direction we're going in and really trying to be user-friendly towards new businesses, because our village is right on the cusp of really, I think, being in a good spot with, new businesses wanting to come here. The new Peaches is phenomenal. They did a great job, good business. I'm excited to see these new folks coming into town. I think that, I don't know about this whole Myers thing, but I think we can all work together and be one symbiotic relationship with each other. I think what we offer is a historical downtown experience that Myers or nobody else has. So, and that includes Rochester or anybody else around us. We need to dive into that more and make sure we never get away from that. So I think that's why that's why I said about the logo, we have to keep that presence of being historic. I think that's what sets us apart. You know, you're never gonna be, Myers is gonna come and go, and you're gonna add Home Depot, and it'll probably blow up to everything on the end of the earth, but it's the small businesses that come here that I think really set us apart, and we need to keep cherishing those and helping them out, not penalizing them when they wanna park, or trying to find new and irritating ways that they go somewhere else. So I like the fact that we are really trying to dive into that more, so good job.
All right, Melissa?
I don't have any comments tonight.
Okay. John?
I am all set, thank you.
All right, I just have a couple. I want to thank Marty and Kathy for your hard work. I know those events are no joke to put on, so thank you for everything you're doing. I want to thank Paul for willing to take on the planning commission liaison role, so I appreciate that. And then I just want to thank the board again. I mean, we've heard from people today how important it is to make sure that we're a city our village that people want to come and are able to come and do business in. So I appreciate the board rallying behind the businesses and making sure that we're not pricing them out of doing business in town.
Me? I echo the thank you to Marty and Kathy for all your hard work on Vintage Fest. And then I just wanted to share with the board, Kathy Dickens did grab me when I was up in the office, and just wanted to say thank you again, that this has been a really seamless transition for them to move up into that space. They thoroughly enjoy it, and it's perfect. And I thanked her in kind, and we love seeing them up there and utilizing the space. So it's been great, and I just wanted to share those comments with the board.
Yeah, thank everybody for all their work, all the different things that we're doing, and actually being doers and not just more managers. We need some more spots for the high school poster boards. So I have a few more people I need to hit up. If anyone knows of anybody else willing to do it, I know you guys have reached out. Still need a few more spots.
What is the ask? What are you doing?
We gotta put poster boards. They're doing a project of what
revisioning or envisioning what the Ford site could be. And so they've done a whole huge presentation and drawings and everything on it. So they're just displaying them downtown in a few weeks here at the end of May.
They can put anything in my windows if they want.
Cool. And oh, thank you guys for coming. Now I don't have to say that I can't tell you what the businesses are because they told you themselves. And they do fit within, you know, the proper spot, so.
Wonderful.
So I agree totally with Paul, everything you just said, as far as small businesses, the parking, thank you, I appreciate that. And also, it's great to look out there and see more than 2 people, so thank you all for coming. Something else, but I don't know what it was. Go ahead, Kathy. Oh, wait, sorry. So, you know, we would love to see more businesses come to just one of our meetings, just one meeting for the Vintage Fest, because there's so much that you can learn what we're doing, where we're at. It's just one meeting, that's it.
Well, again, I'd like to thank all of you for being here, and also too, for expressing your concerns, and they're obviously very valid. And that, but also, you said something about not wanting to get involved, but here I am. You should get involved. It's really good not only to know the business side of it, but also the governmental side of it. Over 25 years ago, somebody told me that, and I'm so glad that I did, because I learned there's always a reason, and it's just kind of like what Justin Parker was saying. There's an other side of the parking issue, and if you come to these meetings or the village council meetings and become involved, you'll be happy that you did, because you're going to learn so much. It'll help you with the business and to be a partnership with the government, and not like, oh my gosh, they're doing this or they're not doing this. Oh gosh, they're making me do this. But if you understand what the government, how it works and how it runs, you really should. And, you know, we have an empty seat right over there, but just so you know.
Right?
Right. But thank you.
I got one more ask, and maybe you already do this. Do we have a place where we can sync up everybody's calendars that we have? Like where our meetings are and when the board meetings are? Is there like?
A shared
it does?
calendar.
It links it? Okay.
Yeah, you just gotta accept the link.
Okay, so maybe I'm not doing it right. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. My calendar person.
I know, I'm his personal calendar.
She is. By the way,
Like,
Don,
okay, Paul.
I'm already, keep me going.
All right.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Perfect.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion